All right, here we are. So today I plan on setting up health and showing impacts. I have two particle prefabs that I kind of tweak to work on for the impacts, and one is also muzzle flash because the other muzzle flash was kind of so I'm going to look into that as well and try to improve it. First thing I need to do though is let me get rid of the other muzzle flash, or let me change it actually, I should say. So right now, where did I put that file? Oh, looks like I need to comment this one still. When you fire, it just spawns a muzzle flash on the exit point, which is a transform on the weapon. But I should probably also attach to it because right now it just kind of floats in space if you move while you fire. So let me just do that real quick. I'm going to do game object R for result, and it's going to spawn at the exit point dot position using the exit point dot rotation. That way, if you're facing left or right or whatever, it will have the right rotation. Then I'm going to do R dot transform dot set parent exit point, and I'm just going to give that a test real quick. Make sure it's working. And I already dropped in the new muzzle flash. Whoops. Okay, so it looks like it's actually backwards. So I need to modify this, and I need to actually make a new object. Actually, I'm going to just do this real quick. I don't think I'm using the glow. Get rid of that. Let me break prefab. Get rid of the glow. The top here, I'm going to put these underneath. I'm going to copy the particle system. And I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to get rid of this one. And it looks like nothing really changed, but what I'm going to do is actually just rotate this 180 degrees on the Y, and that should fix it. So let me delete this muzzle flash, drop that one in, and I just need to set up my prefab again super quick. All right, let's try it again. Okay, so it still looks kind of I might need to adjust it slightly, but definitely better, way better than the ones we had before. Let me just see what it looks like from the side. Yeah, so I mean, it's a little long. I will worry about that later though. Right now it's okay. It's definitely better than what we had. So I also have an impact one, and that one's probably also crooked. I don't know if it is, but just to test, I'm going to drop it in under the muzzle flash. And oh, this one's actually the right way. It is way too long as well. I need to slow it down a bit, but this is going to be what it looks like when I hit something, at least something that's like a material. And again, it's too long, but it's the right rotation now, so I don't need to worry about that one. Let's go ahead and delete that from my scene. And one other thing I wanted to do was go to my, I guess any object for that matter, and click my layers, and I want to add a new layer. And I want to add a player layer, or actually I'll call it character. This is going to be the layer that the character collider is on. I just want to make sure that I can't accidentally trace against it. So I'm going to change this layer to character, and no, only this object. I don't want to change everything else. For example, I don't want to change the hitboxes. And gotta go to my physics. And Right now, the player layer will collide with default. Why am I not seeing it? Oh, I named it character. Yeah, that probably helps. So I want it to collide with default, and that is it currently. And actually, let's make it collide with other characters as well, so that way you can't pass through each other. All right. So let's see. Where to go from here? I got my particles working a little bit better. I got my layer set up, and I detected that I'm able to hit things. Let's first do the impact. That's probably going to be under my weapon script or my weapon handler script. So let's see, going down. Okay, so this is if it hits something. Right now I'm only tracing on the hitbox layer, but I really want to trace on the default and the hitbox layer because I don't want to pass through solid objects. And the way to include two layers is to wrap them in brackets like this and put this one line here. It's kind of like an OR, but instead of two, it's just one line, and that's how you include multiple layers. All right, so now I need to do when something's hit. I'm going to first try and get the hitbox on it. So I'm going to do hit.collider.get component hitbox. Now, this is for two reasons. One, so I can look into manipulating the health on the character, for example, and two, so that I can determine what I'm hitting exactly. So my hitbox right now is pretty empty, but it's going to have types of impacts. So for example, actually, I don't think I want to go that far in right now because that's mostly special effects, and I probably will add that in later, but right now I think I just want to get the health working. So scratch that. Let's just do, let's call it multiplier equals 1F. Okay. Amount of multiplier to apply towards normal damage when this hitbox is hit. And I'm probably going to need that public. And if you're wondering why I don't just make this public, it's because I don't want this value to be modifiable from outside the class. All right, so hitbox, I don't really need this script right now. I'm not using it, but I do want to spawn an effect period whenever something's hit. So I think I need to go to my weapon script. I'm going to close this real quick. And I'm going to just do class weapon space. And right now I do have a prefab for muzzle flash, but I also I wonder if I want an impact for different weapons. I think I do. Yeah, I think I do, because some weapons might be a lot more vigorous and they might do different impacts. So let's do game object impact prefab to spawn when this weapon impacts something. This will probably change actually. I'm going to just take this code and drop it in a weapon handler because I can see that changing in the future and I don't really want to put it in there. When any weapon impacts something. There we go. Hey, how you doing? I don't know if you were first. I'm sorry. You might be first. First to type, but I see there's other people in here. All right, so back down to the fire method. So if something's hit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take if impact prefab doesn't equal null, then let's do, I don't want to spawn it at the rotation of the hit normal. Let me just look something up real quick. Doing some fancy Googling stuff. I know there's an easier way to do this. I'm looking at some code and it doesn't look right. I know there's a way to do it differently. I know you can't see what I'm doing. Let's just wing it here, and we will say we know which way the forward of the fire shot is. So instead of me wasting time in researching how to change the angle to the impact angle, I'm just going to do it to the opposite of this forward for now. All right, so we're going to do game object r equals instantiate impact prefab. We're going to do it at hit.point, and the rotation is going to have to be the opposite of the forward. I wonder if I just inverse it if it'll work. I feel like it will. I've done all this before, like way back in the past, but I can't remember for the life of me how I did it. And I think that's all I need to do. If impact prefab is not null, then spawn it. All right, let's see what that gets us. I do need to add that to my character though. I think it's hitting the gun. Gun shouldn't have a collider. Let me see if it's actually spawning in the world. So yeah, it's hitting somewhere. Is it actually hitting the building and I just can't see it because of oh, it is hitting the building. I just can't see it because of my muzzle flash. So yeah, it seems to be working. That muzzle flash is insane. I definitely need to fix that, and it's hitting at the wrong angle, but that's okay. That's something I can fix later. The base of it's working for now, so that's good. Probably do want to make this just a tiny bit bigger though. I don't know if it's going to spawn as 2F. I think it will. Give it one more shot. Okay, it's getting destroyed too quickly, so I'll look into it later. So we got the impact in. Now we need to modify health if it's a hitbox. So we're going to go to our scripts. I get really caught up in the visual stuff sometimes. And let's do health. I'm still overdue for an organization on the in the hierarchy here of the project. I don't understand why IntelliSense will capitalize like classes and other things like that, but it doesn't capitalize namespaces, even though it's like super obvious of the one you want. Kind of frustrating. So I guess we need to have a base health. We'll just say 100. That's pretty standard, right? All right, so private void on enable. Now I actually need another one here. Private float. Actually, this will be public because I'm probably gonna need this later. Yeah, yep. What do I want to call this? I don't really want to call it like health monitor. That doesn't make sense. I'm doing it anyway. I'm going to rename it later. Just kidding. I'm just going to rename the variable. Okay, so now I'm going to do current health equals base health. So whenever this is on enabled, it'll set the health. And I suppose I need to maybe listen to when a hitbox gets hit. I think that's going to be the most logical way to do this. So let me go back to the project here. And trying to think of what is the most efficient way to handle this. Right now, I don't think any of these have awareness of hitboxes. So I think I will, just under the health script, add it there because a hitbox is more or less going to always affect the health, right? So let me find them using the health script. That makes sense to me. I could have sworn I found the hitboxes somewhere. I'm going to have to look into that. Let's just do a quick search. Ah, yes. I knew it. Right, because I changed the hitboxes when I fire my weapon. But the weapon handler doesn't really need to know about the hitboxes. That doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? It makes way more sense if I do it under health. So I'm going to move that code to the health real quick, because that makes a lot more sense. That's probably in my wake. Yep. Delete that. That's gone. Set hitboxes layer. This can stay under the weapon handler because this is something unique that the weapon handler is doing. I, however, need to get rid of this so it's not referencing the wrong one anymore. That'll throw a bunch of errors. I actually want that. And I'm just going to make this public. And I'm going to do get private set. And yeah, So hitboxes on the character. That should be good. Now I just need to reference these instead of the ones on the weapon handler because they are now gone. And I also need a reference to the health script. So let me grab that real quick. How to say for this character. It doesn't like that. Health is a namespace but used like a type. Yep. Vitals. There we go. You can't have a namespace the same name as a class, otherwise it gets angry. That's why I usually make mine plural, because you don't usually have class plural names, so it makes it less chance of you running into that. You're not actually, it's advised against making them plural like this, the same with enums, but same reason, that's why I do it. And it's always worked out for me pretty good in the past. So now I need to get a health reference. Let's just do, let me check out the set weapons. Okay. I feel like this could probably just be called first initialize. Initialize as a script for use. Should only be completed once. I'm going to do health equals get component health. All right, now back to this, changing this to first initialize, going back to the hitboxes. I'm going to do this for health dot hitboxes. All right. I wonder if my hitbox has a capital B or not. Where did I even put my hitbox script? Move it under health. This is why I'm saying I need to organize this, because you can very quickly end up in a mess if you do not keep your code organized. All right. And there we go. So that's adjusted. Now I should probably add some kind of, I'd say, event to the hitbox. This will do two things for me. One, whenever I raid cast against something, I can just check for a hitbox on the collider I hit, instead of like trying to scale up the transforms and hope that I get the health script. This is going to be considerably more efficient. And also, if I just go to my hitbox script here, and then I do like public event action hitbox on hit, we'll just say on hit, when this dispatched, when this hitbox is hit. So what this is going to do, this is an event I can listen to, and whenever I trace and I hit that hitbox, I'm going to call a method on it, and I'll set that up right now. Oops, hit float damage called, now let's say indicates a hit to this hitbox under damage, amount of damage from hit. Now I can actually do it this way, add a float in there for damage, and then I can just do on hit dot invoke this, indicating this class, and damage for the float And now this is where it gets really fun. I can do for I through hitboxes.ling. I'm just going to add a listener to them. Oops. On hit. Okay. Don't do this to me. There you go. On hit plus equals. There we go. Received when a hitbox is hit. And I'll just say hitbox, and I'm going to rename this to damage. And now I could pass in the multiplier on the hitbox into this as well, but that's stored, like that's serialized, so I think I'd probably rather fetch it rather than clutter the event and make it really confusing. Whereas the damage is going to be like a one-time thing, so I want to pass that into the event because that'll get lost immediately. All right, so on hitbox, let's just say I'll do private void, remove health, float value, and I'm going to do another private void, remove health, float value, float multiplier. This is just in case I want to have two different ways to remove health, in case one might require a multiplier and one might not. They're going to have the same summary though. And all this is going to do is just call remove health with value times multiplier. And this will remove from my current health. And I need like a way to check if I'm out of health, I suppose. And then I need to do something, and I haven't got that set up. There's nothing special about it right now. So I'm going to go back to my hitboxes, and I will do remove health using damage, and as the multiplier, hitbox.multiplier. And now it's all kind of separate but linked together at the same time, and I can probably reuse a lot of this code for other things if I want. Let's see, where do I want to go from here? I think I'm going to probably add a debug just to make sure it's working. Let's do add in the name of what's being hit. Let's say before plus, I'm going to actually drop this up here, before plus current health plus after, and I'm just going to do the same code in here because this is only temporary. So I'll just do current health minus value. Let's make sure that's working. So I'm going to look over my code real quick. I got the hitbox. If base is client, I'm actually doing the hit effect on both the client and the server. This only needs to be under the client. So let me go ahead and just move that over. And under server, this is where I would remove the health. So I'm going to do hitbox. Actually, the hitbox I'll probably move to both server and client whenever I have different impact effects, but right now it's only going to show on the server, or the impact rather is only going to show on the client, and it's going to be a static effect, so I don't really need the hitbox reference right now for the client. So I'll just do if hitbox doesn't equal null, then hitbox dot hit, and that would be weapon index dot, okay, that might not be a public value, so let me check that out real quick. It's not. Let's do public int damage, get return damage. All right, so I think this will work. I just need to do a build and test it. First, I'm going to run as a host just to make sure that nothing is too funny. I might actually be able to test this on host. Well, there's one issue right there. I forgot to add the health script maybe. Okay, I didn't forget to add the health script. So either hitboxes is null or health is null. Okay, so health is null. Did I forget to grab it? Weapon handler and health. They are both there. So what's the deal? We know that it's getting the weapons, but it's not getting the health. Am I missing something really silly right now? I wonder if this didn't save. I probably didn't save this yet. I bet you that's what it is. Because my prefab, I have autosave off because it adds on the load time. Yeah, so now it's working. Oh, look, it's server hit stuff, ground grass, hit stuff 0. That's my collider on my car. Fence. Did I miss the tree? Oh, I did not miss the tree per se. I have it so that you can actually, I think you can set it so you can shoot through these trees, and I think I have that on purpose. I might change that, but yeah, it seems to be working. The reason you're not getting the health output because those things do not have hitbox scripts. So you can still hit them because they're on the default layer, but they don't have hitbox scripts. I'm going to move this just below my mono behavior methods because I like to have my first initialize at the very top, right below things like awake, start, and update. So let's put that there. And let's go to my scene and get out of this. I have my target and health. All right, so it has 100 health. I should be able to shoot at it now. All right, here we go. And it is working. Right now this gun's a semi-auto, it's not on full auto, so I need to fix that, but that is working. And you can see it's subtracting 25 each shot. That's because the gun deals 25 damage. If I were to go to the hitbox here and let's say bump up the multiplier, it should start taking double damage now. Perfect, so it took off 50, which is exactly double damage. Great. I think also, I'm not going to use a float for the health because how many games do you know that have like 0.5 health or whatever? That's just silly. So let's actually go to the health, and I know this is working currently. So I'm going to delete that line. But let's go to the health and change this to an integer. We're only going to use full values. We will keep the multiplier as a float though. Damage is only going to be whole values as well. Okay, and I think I'm going to seal to int, which means it's going to round up because I don't want to accidentally do 0 damage. I want to always do at least 1 damage if you hit something. I need to change this to an int. Yeah, int, correct. I honestly don't know why it's so common to use floats for damage and health and stuff like that. I mean, I did it out of habit, so that kind of speaks for itself. But these do int damage, so I must have at some point thought to use integers. But anyway, getting a little sidetracked. I guess now we need to destroy it, which should be pretty easy. Now the thing is not everything's going to be the same. I might have like destructibles, for example, or I might have characters that do different things when they're destroyed or die or whatever. So I'm going to probably have to override this class somehow. So I'm going to do public virtual void on health depleted. Now notice I'm saying on health depleted and not like on died or anything like that, because it might not necessarily die. And you might also want to do different actions when the health is depleted and not per se remove it or kill it or destroy it or whatever. So I'm going to say on health depleted to be more accurate to those potentials. All right, so right now this is going to actually destroy it, but I'll probably end up overriding this behavior at some point, which reminds me, you have to make these virtual as well if I plan on overriding. There we go. Now if I go back, and I will be running this on a server client test in a second. I just want to make sure that everything works. Great. So, like I said, I just want to make sure everything works on client host first before I go through the effort of building it and whatnot, which I'm doing right now. I haven't built in a while, so it's just going to take a quick second. All right, so this is the server only. We got our thing moving around here. I'm going to join as a client. I'm going to jump. Pressing my jump key locks the mouse position. It's just the way I have it set up so I can move my mouse around unless I jump. Makes it a little bit easier to go between windows. All right, hit. Missed because I'm bad. All right, hit and destroyed. Perfect. So that seems to be working okay. Yeah, that pretty much accomplishes everything I wanted to do today. So I need to obviously expand that to make it a little bit better so the player just doesn't get randomly destroyed. That's where the override's going to come in. I'll probably set up a ragdoll or something. But I do want to, in the meantime, since we got that done, I think I'm going to make those particles a little less crazy. So let's go to impact, and where's that even at right now? Okay, that's like right over the tint. I can work with that. Going really far, really far. So let's change the speed to something less ridiculous. Let's say like 3 and 5. It looks like they have gravity, That's fine, I suppose. I do want to make them a little bit bigger though. So I think I'm going to go with the start size. And I'm going to make this a range, and right now it's what, 0.25. So let's go with 0.05, 0.065. Let's see how that looks. Still pretty horrible looking. Maybe 2.5 and then maybe 4. Okay, that's a little bit better. Now I just want to do a random start color. And I want to go between, I think, maybe like a brown to maybe a same thing but kind of more gray. They're also really, really translucent. That might be the material. That's fine for now, I suppose. Let's go ahead and work on the muzzle flash because that's also really out there. Can't forget to apply. All right, let's do a quick preview of this. All right, so right away, from what we saw is, let's actually jump into play mode while we edit this. So I'm going to go back to my muzzle flash and just drag it in here. Oh, I got that script on it. Remove that. And now let me go ahead and play with it here. Where did I put it? You know what? I changed my mind. It was easier. It was easier in the editor versus play mode. I thought it'd be easier the other way, but it's not. So let's see what this particular one is on the top. So that's the part that's, did I not disable these? I thought I did. Here we go. So that's the one that's actually a bit too much. So let's change this to anywhere between 0.01 to 0.015. And that doesn't really look big enough at all, does it? All right, that's not too bad. Let's change the speed up. That's definitely better. All right, let's add in the sparks. Get rid of the sparks and the fireball back in. Fireball's okay. It's definitely too big though. Let's go with like 0.3 to maybe 0.6. That's obviously way too small. Let's try a nice constant size of 0.1. Still a little too tiny. That's better. That's pretty good. It's just not facing the right way. Let's see. Render alignment to view. That means it should always show facing. I'm going to do it to world. Perfect. That's what I want. And I'm going to guess and say that the shape is probably a little big. Yep. All right. I don't want that. I want to use probably a sphere. I can see the benefits of using this, but let me just try this something else real quick. Where is it? There we go. And I think I really want this super tiny. Super tiny. There we go. So now they're consistently spawning in one area. Now Something doesn't seem right. Like they're still kind of appearing in random spots. If it changes to an edge, it should fix that. Yeah. All right. That looks pretty good. It's a little tall, a little high, I think. I might have to play with it inside and like inside game view, and I do think it's actually still kind of big, so I'm just going to change it to constants again real quick. I'm going to go to 1 and then maybe like 0.15, and it looks really tiny here, but I think in front of the gun it'll look better, so we'll have to see about that. I'm gonna get rid of sparks. Okay, just kidding, I don't want to open up the prefab right now. I was thinking maybe I could add a little bit of velocity. I don't know which way it's going to travel though. So I'm going to change the start speed to a constant 3, which is really high. And I can find out which way it's sending it, and I can see it's going up. So if I rotate, I think it's either on the X or the Z. Okay, it is the X. I just gotta rotate it -90. And I could still also just probably rotate the shape too if I wanted. But whichever way you like, really, is all that matters. All right, is this going forward? All right, so it is going forward. Between 2 constants. All right, I think that'll do. Let's go ahead and apply it. Need to add the delay destroy. Again, this is going to be like 0.35. Save. Let's give it one more shot. All right, that's definitely better. I think the view alignment on the other ones are view instead of world. So that might be why they look funny sometimes. And I'm seeing the sparks when I like hit the ground. I can tell you right now that that is not the right angle. It's consistently wrong though. It seems to always, I don't know. I'll look into that. I feel like it's not the rotation when it's firing either. Really hard to say because it's happening so quick. Go ahead and delete that one. Let's go to renderer and stretch billboard. There should be an option. It might not let me do world because it is stretched billboard. It looks more consistent now though. You know what? I think I'm going to get rid of the fireball and just leave the regular blast. It kind of fits the appearance better. I'm going to save. Oh, you know, I forgot to save it before. Yeah, so I needed to go to stretch billboard. That's not going to work. I think this will be fine. It looks like it's still kind of different depending on which way I'm facing though, and I'm not sure entirely what that's all about. I'm not sure at all. I may have to do some testing with that off camera. But for now, this will certainly do just fine. It doesn't need to be perfect. Mission accomplished. I got to fix the sparks. That's another thing I'll do off camera. At least now you can see the muzzle flash and the sparks are different. And yeah, I think this would do for today. Any questions before I pack up? Just waiting a moment because I know there's a delay on the feed. I'll start backing stuff up while I wait. Okay, looks like we don't have any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. As usual, thanks for watching, and feel free to check out the links I posted on top. If anything comes to mind afterwards, you can always reach out to me. Take care.